everybody, it's Liz from Raoul again, just giving you a bit of an update on wigs. What I want to talk to you about today is hair quality and bleach knots. So there's a lot of myths about hair quality, and when you're looking to buy a wig, lots of people will talk about REMI hair. It's one of those things that people think is really, really important, and whilst it is, it's also one of the things that some unscrupulous hair suppliers will use to try to give credibility to poor quality hair. So when hair is cut, it should be cut when it's been tied off and cut, so that the cuticle and the hair shaft is all the same way. REMI means cuticle intact and all in the same direction, because basically if you have hair that has cuticle in multiple directions, you get a matted mess. So for example, the cuticle runs down the outside of the hair shaft. It's like a fish scale, and if you have one piece of hair that way and another piece that way, it rubs and it sort of lifts the cuticle, opens the cuticle out, and then you get matting. Matting can also happen because the hair is dry, so it doesn't naturally follow that if you've got matting of your wig that the cuticle's not in the right direction. It can be that you're not giving enough moisture, because again, those cuticles, those fish scales stick out because they're not moist and there's no oil in the hair, and then they catch on the hair next to them, so you get this sort of effect of this, and then that rubs and you get this matting. So there are two reasons for matting, but REMI hair really should mean cuticle intact, and it should mean that the cuticle's running in the same direction. Unscrupulous hair suppliers will strip the cuticle completely off the hair shaft by dipping it in acid, and then saying that it's REMI hair really is their way of saying, well, it's not going to mat. And of course it's not going to mat because the cuticle doesn't exist. The problem with that, the hair that's left is really, really thin, and it's really, really weak. So you don't want hair that's not got its cuticle, and you can tell because when you touch good quality hair, it's got texture, it's got substance. You should be able to back comb hair when it's in a wig, and it should go all matted because you're pushing the cuticle back, and that's what you used to do in the sort of 50s and 60s to get the beehive. So good quality hair is important. European hair is usually the best type of hair if you're going to want to bleach, because it's already slightly lighter. Asian hair can be really good quality, but it's difficult if you're going to be bleaching it, because you can be left with a sort of a reddish, orangish undertone. So look for good quality hair that has its cuticle intact. Don't just be swayed by somebody saying it's REMI. Feel the quality of the hair. Look at the movement of the hair. It shouldn't be, if you stretch it, you shouldn't be able to stretch, and then it pings, because that's all the processed hair. So that's the hair quality bit. The bleached knots are really, really important. If you go for bleached knots, you will damage the hair, and you're likely to see the hair has been bleached, because you have this sort of almost like a capillary action where the knots are a lighter colour, and then the bleach has travelled up the sort of middle of the hair shaft. So the reason you bleach a knot is if you've got fair skin or a light lace and dark knots, you can see, and that's where you're trying to look for a lightening of the knot so that you can't see it. The best way is just to go for single knots. Don't have double knots around the hairline, just have single knots and don't have them bleached. And then you don't damage the integrity, don't compromise the integrity of the hair, damage the actual hair itself, and you don't run the risk of these sort of orangey, liquid looking tips on the end.